Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. You all know what it's time for. We're actually semi-on time. The chapter hasn't been out that long for chapter 267 of Akatsuki no Yona, also known as Yona of the Dawn. Now, this chapter, why don't we just go through it, because there's a few things, obviously, that we're going to talk about. There's a few things we're going to talk about here, but overall, I don't know if I'm crazy about the fact that, let's just say it right now, that Yona seemingly, there's still time for this, but Yona and the Crimson Dragon have zero power, have zero authority, have zero, will over the other dragons in a sense. There is no great power like Yona's in this realm. Maybe she should awaken. Where is it? Once again, King Hiryu is technically the dragon, but also not. We're still not 100% on how that works exactly. But there's no, it is. I'm just curious at this point. My big question is the Crimson Dragon literally the weakest without really any powers? They just love him, and they're the guardians. They're the ones with the power. Sort of like, we anime and manga have sort of skewed our focus on this and stuff, but is the Crimson Dragon more or less just a figurehead? Still a dragon, which once again, even that hasn't manifested itself yet. But the king is not the most powerful. The leader of the army is, his general is a warrior. The king is not. Is that what's going on here a little bit? Because the problem I have with that is that would circumvent and really leave a bad taste in my mouth, because, once again, while manga and anime might have skewed our focus to this, that, kings are always the strongest, and conquerors, and, the leaders, they're always super powerful, especially in shonen and shoujo. In this manga itself does the exact same thing. It's not just Hawk. Yona is a warrior in her own right. Soo-won is a warrior in her own, his own right, and stuff like that, right? And the kings, the Kajis and all these guys from, Kai and stuff like that, they all are part of that, right? So this manga itself has established that leaders and kings and queens and stuff are some of the best warriors, are on that bracket. So I'm just curious, before we get underway with the actual chapter, is that the case here? Maybe, maybe not, because I'm still sort of disappointed. Spoiler alert for the next 20 minutes. There's no Crimson Dragon manifested power in any way. This is sort of the time for it, and he wouldn't be taking anything away from the Yellow Dragon. So, anyway, we do see Yona. Yona wakes up and stuff in the, Garden of Flowers. She immediately is like, oh, right, where am I? Oh, Zeno, I gotta go save Zeno and stuff. And then we see the remnants of the dragons, the actual dragon dragons. Crimson Dragon, come to us. This is no longer shoujo, this is horror. Well, that being said, Sailor Moon opening terrified children in the 90s nationwide, So, I mean, it is what it is. But still, horror elements in our shoujo. And then boom, once the Dementor claws of the Yona dragons go away and stuff like that, he's like, I'm going back to Earth, I won't go with you. Immediately, there is the Yellow Dragon protecting, and right there, and Yona immediately recognizes, a dragon god, and recognizes the full form of the Yellow Dragon. And then there's jae-ha, somehow managing to stand without another leg. Anybody notice that? He must be standing on one leg at this point. Anybody notice that? But jae-ha's there, Shina, Zeno, they're all protecting immediately, guarding Yona and stuff like that. That's really cool and stuff like that. So they're like, Zeno, everyone is like Little Miss and stuff. I'm like, yes, Little Miss. The name came back. It's like, we've returned for real this time. And actually, this is Yona. She starts to tear up. We've seen the dragons come back. Yona hasn't seen her dragons yet. So here they actually are. So this is actually, it feels weird because we as readers were reunited with the dragons already. Yona was not. And since the being reunited happened like us, the readers, 3 chapters ago, and now Yona as a character, this chapter, it feels sort of like, And it wasn't until my second reread that I went, oh yeah, she didn't actually ever find the dragons. She was still under the whole the dragons aren't the dragons right now. You know what I mean? Like, she never found the dragons and stuff, and it just felt... It's just because normally when we wait for these things, you know, we need Hawk and Soo-won to talk, and I need Zeno to meet up with Yona and stuff like that. It's usually months and months in real time, but chapters and chapters, you know. It doesn't happen within the span of the same, you know, few moments, really, by manga standard, by manga time. So I did actually miss that the first time I read it, and I'm like, yeah, your dragons are here. I mean, I know it's emotional and stuff, but it's like, yeah, the dragons, they're fine. And it's like, well, they're not fine. And also, it's like, wait, she didn't actually recognize that. So I did misread that the first time. So the yellow dragon immediately talks to Zeno and said, it's not over yet. Don't let your guard down, boys. And here come the other three dragon gods. They're twisted. They're manifested. They're, as I said, they got that bit of that horror element. I'm reminded of something that would be in like a Sinister movie, a Conjuring movie, that kind of horror element going on here. Very Dementor-esque, very, you know, that kind of idea. It's like, give him to us. Give us the Crimson Dragon and stuff. Now, the Yellow Dragon is immediately managing to sort of bash these guys around and sort of doing a protective sweep of the dragon gods and such, but still, they're still technically outnumbered, where we know that without the yellow dragon, they were unable to do anything to these guys, even one of them. So this is where Yona's like, what happened to the dragon gods and stuff? The yellow dragon starts to explain and says, they have broken their own contracts one too many times. The gods create contracts with their great power. This is some good lore here. So, similar to the creation of the Dragon Warriors, it was a contract. And now, the Yellow Dragon is basically saying what I theorized last time, and I've seen other people say, is that the Dragon Gods' love became obsession, became possessiveness, and the contract was made in good faith and in love. And whatever this binding contract is, it's not something that the Dragon Gods themselves control. The contract is... let's do another Harry Potter reference. It's like the unbreakable vow. You know, the wizards don't control it. Once the vow is set, the magic controls what is considered breaking it and not. You as a wizard do not get to go up there as a judge. You can't handle the truth, and I have 30 different precedents here, judge, to showcase... No, you don't get Marissa Tomei to tell you why it's not a Buick Skylark. You don't get to say, you know, that stuff. You don't get your witnesses. You don't get your judge and jury and stuff. No. So, I like this. So they are bound by their own contracts, and because it was made in good faith and love, and now obviously it's borderline on possessiveness and obsession, the Yellow Dragon is more so theorizing, but I'm pretty sure he's hit the ballpark, saying they broke their own contract too many times at this point. Like, you know, because this was not in the spirit of the contract. The gods create contracts with their great power, but if they forsake these same contracts, then they soon lose their great power and their reasoning. That's why the Yellow Dragon is able to, that's why they sort of this twisted form, they're, you know, this ooze, this miasma, this darkness, and the Yellow Dragon is seemingly holding off all three at once, is because they're losing a lot of their godlike powers. They're losing a lot of their strength because, you know, that's what making a contract as a god is, you're betting on. You know, you must lose law of equivalent exchange, Full Metal Alchemist style here, right? A lot of references this review. Anyways, it just speeds things up. So, this is where Yona immediately recognizes, like, you are the Yellow Dragon. It's like, it's my first time meeting you in this form. Yona doesn't call her Crimson Dragon, calls her Yona. Because I am the Yellow Dragon who gave his blood to Zeno. When I bestowed my blood to him, I dwelled inside of him and have always watched over all of you. And said, you are protecting us. I am unable to actually intervene with anything on Earth. I have only been watching. So she immediately is like, so you've been protecting us this whole time? He's like, no. My power was still the same. It was still the same contract as the other dragon gods here. The thing is that I was not able to intervene or protect or do anything. I was just an observer within Zeno's body. It was still all them. It was still the Dragon Warriors and everything. I was not intervening. I wasn't doing anything. So this is where the Dragon Gods start to curl around the Yellow Dragon. They start to try, and they curl around the other dragons too. They curl around, you know, Kija's lost arm and stuff like that, and they say, you know, Yellow Dragon, you have betrayed us. Why do you betray us? And stuff, and they're going forward. Yona immediately notices jae-ha's leg. Shina's eyes, Kija's arm and stuff, and it's like, why? And then just immediately, we've taken them. Ooh, and it's just, that this stuff, and I'm feeling a little under the weather still, guys, so I can't really do a good voice for this, but this is a very oozy, very, Palpatine-esque, Star Wars sort of the Emperor sort of idea, like, we have taken them, princess. They defiled the gods. It's very menacing, very creepy, very venom spit sort of idea in the voices. And at least that's the way I'm reading it. I'm reading it like a viper, like venom being spat at you more than being talked to in a way, right? So if you read each line with that sort of, it becomes a lot creepier, a lot more menacing in that idea, right? So they defiled the gods, so we punished them. However, if you come back to us, we can return them to normal. So once again, still in the bargaining stages. Still trying to bargain to keep the Crimson Dragon here. Only us who took them can return them. And it's just immediately like, so she's like, oh my god, so you took his eyes, you took their limbs, like what is, so she's immediately about to fall to despair, by the way. She's immediately falling to despair by these words, be like, all you have to do is make a deal with us because we can return them, and we're the only ones who can. And jae-ha immediately, Yona dear, don't worry about me. This will be good exercise for my core if I can't jump so much. And Kija's just like, that's right, even if I lose my right, I still have my left. I'll just have to train it even harder, right? And then Shina's like, Yona's like, Yona, believe me, my eyesight, I don't care. I already have what's important to me. Now, I hope that this line was better. This line, jae-ha's is pretty good. It's, it is what it is. Kija's is fine and stuff like that. Shina's, it was open textbook to say, Yona, I don't care. Even without my eyes, I've already seen everything I ever wanted to see. You know what I mean? Or something along those lines. Something about the fact that it doesn't matter that they took my eyes, because the last thing I saw was all of us. The last thing I saw was our friends, our family, or something along those lines. However you want to word it to make it sound less cheesy and less cringy. It needed to be said about the eyes, like saying I already have what's important to me. No, I've already seen what's important to me. Just that little tweak, even that. Not even editing that line that much. Just saying I already have. No, I already have seen. That's all. I wish that had been the case. Anyway, Yona supposedly gets her strength back from their words and their, the camaraderie and stuff. So immediately she just looks at the Dragon God full form and just says, what do I need to do to leave this place? I will live in Koka Kingdom, right? And she's saying this all good. Everything seems to be fine. And then immediately, Crimson Dragon. And boom. Just opens up the entire skyline, it seems, just to showcase what Koka Kingdom currently looks like. The Crimson Dragon Castle, the sky, the divine protection, and they explain this, that the divine protection over the Koka Kingdom that we held, it is now shrouded in darkness, struck by natural disasters. Like, we were the ones that kept everything, hurricanes and floods and disasters and, stuff like that at bay. And I like to think almost that almost accumulated in a sense. Like, they were staving off with their divine protection of the kingdom itself, and the closer to the castle, of course, the more everything was going to be okay. They were staving off, bad weather, natural disasters, and all anything misluck, especially and stuff. And now that the divine protection has fallen, basically it's almost doubled down, tripled down on it. That's why the sky immediately turned black, and natural disasters and lightning storms and stuff, it's almost been like bottling up. Like, they didn't remove the natural disaster, they just had like a force field around it and said, no, we're keeping you at bay. And it hit the pause button. The thunderstorm never went away. The hurricane never went away. The famine, the drought, these things did not go away. Now, this is just me theorizing, but these things didn't go away, they just hit pause on them. And once the divine protection finally gave way, now they're all accumulated at once, raining down absolute disaster and devastation on the kingdom. I kind of like that idea myself. it doesn't really change. The fact is that regardless if that's what's happening or not, right now natural disasters and devastation are happening to the kingdom because the divine protection is gone one way or another, right? So if you return to Earth, as they say, our divine protection will completely disappear and it will be a hell on Earth. Great numbers of people will perish. There will be endless wars, famine, death, and destruction, and more. He goes, and they're just completely, and even the Yellow Dragon is agreeing with this and saying they will continue to add conditions one after another. They want to establish a new covenant with you right here, right now, to try to get the Crimson Dragon back, right? Yona recognizes that this is what they're doing. The Yellow Dragon recognizes that this is what they're doing. We, the readers, recognize that this is what they are doing. Is Yona going to fall for it? Of course not. Just again, it's like immediately, so it's like, no, they are not going to, they'll get their powers back if you establish a new contract with them, because now they're obviously very weakened. And immediately Yona says, Yellow Dragon, let's go with everyone. We'll fly head first into that darkness. It doesn't matter if it's hell. It's much more preferable than a world of light with no one in it. And not a bad sentence. Once again, I wish this was tweaked a little bit more, like, the whole idea. It's the classic line of, would you serve in heaven or rule in hell? I would have liked something along these lines, like, even if this place was a paradise, it can never be, I don't know. This line is fine, this one's okay, and this is just nitpicking, but I just feel like there could have been a little more oomph to that. Could be a translation thing, as I said, and it just could be like, even if the world is in darkness, it is my home, or something like that, and it's where I choose to live, something like that. Anyway, so they all get on the back of the Yellow Dragon. Yellow Dragon's like, fuck it, alright, here we go, we're balling. And so immediately they're going into this deep, dark abyss, this picture of absolute darkness. And there's just thinking about everyone, thinking like Hawk and Yon and everyone, like, I'm on my way. I'll be safe. I'll be there soon. Just I hope you're all alright. And immediately Shinhan notices, even with, no eyes. I'm like, damn, man. It's like they're still after us. And it's like, we're here. Crimson Dragon. And here's the line that I think this is good. This is good because this is what, once again, the Crimson Dragon is at fault for all of this. Responsibility and accountability is all on him. All 100% on his shoulders. He caused the Dragon Gods to be like this. You know what I mean? Once again, bringing it up that when you have a serial killer and they murder 13 people, right? But then you find out that the parents that raised said serial killer beat, abused him, molested, did all the horrible things we can think of, and fucked them up mentally. All the killings, the serial killer is still accountable. But the parents of the serial killers have just as much accountability and responsibility. You can lay everything, every action at their feet. And that's my argument here that I'm trying to make. Not to absolve the Dragon Gods or the serial killer in this analogy or comparison, but to say there is still accountability just as much, if not more, accountability and responsibility on the parent, on the person who caused the people to act like this in the goddamn first place. So, not every time. People eventually are supposed to, of course, they're supposed to grow beyond their traumas. They're supposed to go beyond their upbringing and stuff like that. And they are still responsible for their own actions. Once again, I'm just saying, you don't deviate the blame. You share the blame. You know what I mean? So, it's not about shirking the responsibility or the accountability on the person. It's about knowing where that person got these ideas, where that came from, and who's responsible for how they turned out. Because he says, this is what gets me. He says, please don't say there's no one here, Crimson Dragon. Like, that was, and then you feel for them. I was like, this is perfect. This is a perfect line because he said, I would rather live in a world preferable to this than a world of light with no one in it. Completely disregarding them and their souls, and them as people, them as anything worth noticing. That's a very And do you notice the ant that you step on as the boot? It's very villainesque when you want to flip the page on that one, right? So it's just like, so there's running after him. Please, Crimson Dragon, we're here. Please don't say that there's no one here. These are literal, the Crimson Dragon's children, whatever you want to call them, crying out saying like, you're abandoning us again? What did we do that was so wrong? Don't just dismiss us. This is the father who abandons his wife and kids and never looks back, and then goes and gets a new family and says, no, there's no one here in this house. There's no one here in this town that I care about, sort of idea. It is literally the deadbeat father who abandons his wife and kids. Crimson Dragon is actually the worst villain in the goddamn series. Caused all the suffering, 1,000 years of the Dragon War, 2,000 years, of the Dragon Warriors. Caused the Dragon Gods to this level. Tortured their asses for 2,000 years. And, yeah. And the Crimson Dragon illness. Because of the dragon. Literally, worst. Yeah, he's responsible for everything. The Crimson Dragon is actually he's not a terribly written character. He's just villainous. Unintentionally, but selfishly villainous. It's terrible. He's a horrible person. Just horrible. Or horrible god, horrible dragon, however you want to say it. So, yeah. And then we jump to the page of stuff like that. Hiryu did have a chance to come back. Here's the worst part. So, we see this scene. And he said, we've come for you, Crimson Dragon. The humans have forgotten faith, love, and your teachings. Destroy them and let us return to the heavens. Now, the destroying part, a little bit meh, but it's just like, no, for I too am human now. Even if humans hate or betray me, I can't help but love them. If this goes on, the Crimson Dragon will be killed. Humans are detestable creatures, but if we destroy them, the Crimson Dragon will never forgive us. So let's make extensions of ourselves. Once again, this is the creation of the Dragon Warriors, right? And it's just like, they're like, so it's almost the Jesus Christ figure all over again. It's like you've been mistreated by these humans that you claim to love and stuff like that. We just don't see it. We don't want you to be hurt anymore. We can't stand to see you in pain. We can't stand that these humans don't appreciate you like we do. It's like we can't let you do this alone. So they create the extensions of themselves so he'll never be alone. We want him to be happy. See, this is what I'm talking about. The oath and the contract was made from a place of love originally because they didn't want him to suffer. They didn't want him to be alone. They are so selfless and he is so selfish. And then, please be happy. And this is Yona. This is straight from her. This is a very distant memory from the Dragon Gods. It's like, please be happy. That's all they wanted for him. To be happy. And they looked on Earth, they looked at the humans, and they said, abso-fucking-lutely not. It's sort of like, okay, you can't make your child's decision for them. You can't make your brother's decisions, your parents' decisions, whatever. But if you keep seeing your mom going back to an abusive shit ass of a human being, right? Thankfully that didn't happen to me. My parents are still together. I have enough other traumas. But if, a very classic scenario, a stepmom with or not a stepmom, your mom goes to an abusive an abusive boyfriend over and over and over. You can't, she's an adult. You can't make her decisions for her, but all you want to do is try to help her to be happy. But your mother is still selfish and responsible for going back to a toxic, abusive relationship. That is on her. And it's not your job to try to fix it. But you're just helpless. You're sitting there watching going, no. So in this case scenario, the mother is the Crimson Dragon. The humans are the abusive boyfriend. And you are the Dragon Gods. And you're just like, Mom, what are you doing? Like, I'm here. I love you. I care. Why are you giving them your love? You can't fix him. He can't be changed. Now, once again, that analogy might not work altogether because we know that there are good humans and bad humans. It's not just a single individual. But from the Dragon God's perspective, they see humanity as a whole, which, sorry, human beings, we do kind of suck as a general rule. They see from a black and white perspective, humanity has the abusive ex, as the abusive boyfriend. So they, of course, they're just like, our hands are tied, what can we do? Well, all we can do is pray for their happiness and help as much as we can and give up as much of ourselves and our own life and our own livelihood as we can just to try to protect our mother, you know? That's the exact same thing happening here. I am 100% on the Dragon God side now, and the Crimson Dragon can go suck a big... Right. Anyways, yeah, so the Yellow Dragon here even says, this has lasted for far too long. If I had stayed in the heavens, I probably would have ended up the same way as them. So the Yellow Dragon is basically like, yeah. And in one way, he's like, this has lasted for far too long. As in, he made us wait way too fucking long. Once again, he's not saying it, but it's implied. And then he's like, and he even admits, if I had stayed here, I would have ended up the same. Meaning that it doesn't mean that they were evil or bad from the beginning. The Yellow Dragon, who we love, you know, he's one of the good guys, right? He's saying, no, if I had been up here and the Crimson Dragon, I'm sorry, I would turn too, because it's not their fault. The accountability rests on the Crimson Dragon. So Yellow Dragon just spitting facts here. They continue to say, we're going to head outside now, but even I don't know what will become of us if we try to leave without the approval of the other three gods. Perhaps the only one I can take with me is Zeno alone. So Yellow Dragon's like, yes, I have the power because he's tied to my blood, but in the same way the Dragon Gods brought up, we've taken back our gifts from the other Dragon Warriors. We're the only ones who can restore them. Implying like Yellow Dragon can't restore Shin-ha's eyes. Yeah, only Shin-ha's dragon, the blue dragon, can restore his eyes. Not the green, not the white, not the yellow, only him. So, you know, it is what it is. So he even implies, like, this might not end as great as we think, right? So they're trying to go through, they're thinking about it, you know, it's like, uh-oh, what's actually going to happen? Screams out the nose and stuff. I will bring all the dragons back with me to Earth. I will bring happiness no matter what. I absolutely will. This is why I was born. Please, please. I'll give my eyes, my arms, anything. I will just bring these warriors back and stuff like that. It's like, hold on tight to Earth, closer, and reach. And she's trying so hard to reach through the darkness, get through with her dragon warriors and stuff like that. Now she sees the emblem. She sees Hawk there with soo-won and stuff like that. And it's like, why are they together? He's holding the dragon crest on Earth. The crest is the exit to the world. Why is he can't see me, but he's right there. It's soo-won. He returned. They're together and stuff. And she's just beside herself. It's like Hawk and soo-won are actually standing side by side. They're talking and stuff. She's just so beside herself. It's like, these people are waiting for me. Everyone's waiting for me and stuff. And just mentions they are together. And it's like, all this very emotionally charged and stuff like that. Though I will say the transition between things when they say, I might only be able to take Zeno alone with me. We see that the Yellow Dragon is gone. And Zeno is gone too. And Kija, Shin-ha, and jae-ha are still there with Yona. The thing about this is that we don't see them for the rest of it. We only see Yona struggling to reach up. It's not like they're all tied to her or grabbed onto her or something like that. So I'm not sure what they're trying to pull with that one. Either way, the final pages of the chapter is the Dragon Gods going, Crimson Dragon, this is your last chance, the final covenant. This one over there, the object of your affection. If you do not return to the heavens, we will kill him. End of chapter. Yellow Dragon and Zeno aren't there to help. They are no match for even weakened dragon gods, even if jae-ha, Shin-ha, and Kija didn't make it back like it's implied. Yeah. A level of craziness right there. A big level of craziness right there. So, I'm just going to straight up say, once again, the dragon gods are not the ones at fault. The Crimson Dragon caused all of this. Every negative thing that has happened is a result in this story is pretty much 90% of it is the result of the Crimson Dragon being an asshole, being a selfish prick. That is the long and short of it. I'm sorry. I hope, I don't even know what should happen to the Crimson Dragon at this point. You know what I mean? He doesn't deserve... He needs to be accountable for his actions. Get your butt back up to the heaven. You left. You left your family. You left. That's not cool. That's not a good trait. If a father does that, we all call him a deadbeat loser. Crimson Dragon did the exact same thing to his 4 dragon gods in the heavens. He left his family behind. And when he had the opportunity to return, he chose not to. And then when he had another opportunity to return, he decided, no, I'm sticking with my new family for a 3rd time. He didn't just get 1 new family, he got 2. And now he's still being selfish, saying, you know, maybe I could just take my soul out of Yona's body while we're in the heavens right now. Yes, I'll stay with you, dragon gods, but we will return the humans as humans back down to Earth. Problem solved. And don't give me the shit that he can't do that. So how the hell did he do it the first time? How does any of this shit work? So, yeah. Crimson Dragon being pretty silent right now. Pretty silent. Yona's right there. We get all these distant memories. We see the dragon gods themselves. Even the yellow dragon came out. The dragon god. Crimson Dragon. Why aren't you manifesting? Why don't you... You know why? Coward. Doesn't want to face up to the abandoned dragon gods, knowing that he's the abandoned type, knowing he's the abander. The abandee? No, the abander, I believe would be the term. Anyways, not really a real word. Anyways, yeah. Now that being said, here at the end, how dare you think you can threaten the Thunder Beast, the Darkness Dragon himself? Just by the way, dragon gods, you might have been able to go toe to toe with the other 3 dragons. Not gonna argue that. But the Darkness Dragon, you did not account for. The Darkness Dragon, the Thunder Beast of Koka Kingdom, does not give a shit. He eats dragons for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, baby. So, yeah. You can try. You can try to kill Hawk. I'm just going to say, good luck. Nice try. The man scares an immortal. Literally. Zeno's own words. Yeah, I wouldn't want to fight the mister. He scares me. The man is immortal, has had his head chopped off, has fought an army of 100,000 by himself, mutilated constantly, just gets back up and slaughters everyone. And he's like, yeah, I know, but Hawk's kind of scary. I don't want to fight him. He can't hurt Zeno. And Zeno didn't want to fight him. It's like, if the dude scares an immortal, what the fuck do you guys think you're going to do to him? You know? Anyways, that is chapter 267, my review. Can you tell I have some just itty-bitty feelings towards the Crimson Dragon and his responsibility, or his lack thereof? Just a tad, just a smidge of feelings towards that. Some negativity feelings towards the Crimson Dragon at this junction in the story. That being said, it still is the final arc, ladies and gentlemen. I don't think we're going to hit the 300 chapter mark at this point. I think maybe 290. I think we only got a good, maybe 2 years left in the series, like overall, where we get them basically once a month at this point, sort of idea. I'm thinking a strong 24 more chapters-ish, and then we're going to definitely be looking at the final stages here. I really do think that that's going to be the case. But, just because it's the final arc doesn't mean it can't go for a lot longer, so maybe I'm wrong about that, but we'll have to wait and see. Anyways, this was chapter 267. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. I apologize. I wanted this to come out on Monday. It's not going to come out till Thursday. That's on me. Things just happened. It is what it is, but hope you guys understand. And, yeah, plug, like, comment, and subscribe. Can't wait for chapter 268. Looking forward to that. Hope you guys are too. Have a good one. Let me know what you thought down in the comments as always. And we'll see you back here next time. Sayonara.